Vivek Ramaswamy took the opportunity to really attack these people. The best, and this is the clip I'm about to show, the best moment pretty much of the whole thing, of the whole debate, was when Vivek Ramaswamy picked up his like little pad and paper that they gave him that just said Nikki equals corrupt. Let's play the clip right now.
Nikki is corrupt. This is a woman who will send your kids to die so she can buy a bigger house. This is the problem, using identity politics.
I mean, you just can't make that stuff up. Obviously, he's trying to take a page out of Trump's book, but, and I'm not even saying that was like the right move for America, if that makes sense. Like, is it making us more unified as Americans? I don't know. Is it making the Republican Party more unified? I don't know. But the name of the game, and I've said this so much for these candidates, is they have to distinguish themselves from each other. In many ways, they need to distinguish themselves from Trump as well. But at least for now, when Trump's not on the stage with them, they at least need to be second place. And Vivek Ramaswamy's not. And so something that he did that the other candidates did not do is he actually attempted to distinguish himself. And I think that's evident by the way that the mainstream media is playing the way that he debated. They're talking more about Vivek Ramaswamy and what he said than anybody else. And the reason why is because he was the kind of the most boisterous, had the most fight in him, as evident by this clip. Something that he said that was really awesome. I'm just kind of included in my notes. Some of my favorite moments of what people have said was he said that when he wrote Woke Inc., he wasn't making it as an instruction manual for Nikki Haley. So he went in on Nikki Haley, talking about the corruption, especially with her gaining wealth through the military-industrial complex, as we know she has, as well as these super PACs that are now funding her. Ramaswamy did call Nikki Haley, he said, like, the closest to fascist, which is objectively true. And the reason why he's saying that is because of the money that she's taking and the way that she's trying to kind of force us into wars that, in his opinion, aren't productive. I would agree with that. But I will say that, in my opinion, took a step too far, because we all know at the end of this that the Republicans are going to sit down and they're going to choose a nominee, most likely going to be Trump, and all of them are going to have to come back together, right? It always happens. And the news is going to come out, like the media is going to come out to them and be like, hey, you called Nikki Haley a fascist, and she is also supporting Donald Trump now. So like, how does that work? And he has that uncomfortable, he has to take that uncomfortable moment and explain to them, like, she is a fascist, but, you know, like, we're working together. Like, I think that's a little too far. Usually you just say things like, oh, don't trust them, they don't have your best interests at heart, and then you can kind of walk that back later. Calling someone outright fascist is not something you can easily walk back. And so I think this was too far for Vivek Ramaswamy and not at all productive for the Republican Party. Though, in fairness to Vivek Ramaswamy, as he's talked about in the past, Ronna McDaniel doesn't really have any intention of working with him, and so I don't know if he's really that happy with the Republican Party in general. Really quick, I do want to talk about the premium sponsor of this podcast, which is Gulag America. Gulag America is a premium apparel brand for patriotic clothing. I'm going to put some of them up right now so you can see what I'm talking about. I partnered with them because they create super high quality designs as well as the material on the shirts. I wash mine pretty much weekly and the material stays just as good as new. Right now, if you use my code JoshCar10, you will get 10% off at gulagamerica.com. Again, that is JoshCar10 for 10% off at gulagamerica.com. Another clip that I want to play for you guys. This was probably the most contentious I've ever seen two candidates be on the stage, because generally what happens in these contentious moments is you've got one person who's kind of made this decision to just go in on the other person, and the other person has kind of this alternate strategy of trying to be more passive and being more respectful, like coming off as someone who's not a firecracker. You saw this a lot in the 2016 debates with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, where Donald Trump was super contentious, going in on Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton was kind of more just gaslighting people and trying to be the respectful person, even though she's not. But that was just the play that she was trying to make. What we saw here with Chris Christie and Vivek Ramaswamy in these exchanges was both were really contentious, and honestly, it was kind of an awesome moment. So I'm going to play a clip. Let's roll it right now.
Chris, your version of foreign policy experience was closing a bridge from New Jersey to New York. Yeah. So do everybody a favor, just walk yourself off that stage, enjoy a nice meal, and get the hell out of this race. When it comes to Nikki,
So as you can see, like, I don't know if that's the most helpful response from Vivek Ramaswamy, but I do give him props for going in on people, especially like Chris Christie, who knows that he has no shot at winning. And like, it's like, why are you even on the stage? Again, not the most helpful response. I don't know if it's going to turn voters off to Vivek because it was pretty harsh language, but I'd be surprised if anybody watching this debate or, on the show today, hates watching two politicians just kind of brutally hurt each other. That's a win in my book. So I'm fine when you take like a Vivek Ramaswamy, who's a newcomer, and just kind of pummels this career politician, because I think the more that we can pummel our career politicians, the better, just as a general rule. Ramaswamy's position on Israel is far more palatable than other Republicans. Obviously, there is this group of the Republican Party who's really upset by how pro-Israel the United States is. Overall, the Republican Party is still very pro-Israel. But what Ramaswamy was saying essentially is that we should allow them their sovereignty and give them the strength of independence rather than just trying to control them and give them all this money. Some of the founding principles of Israel is that they're supposed to be autonomous, that they can fight for themselves, and that they want the opportunity to do so. And so Ramaswamy phrased it in this way of like, we should work with Israel, but we shouldn't give them tons of money. And this is actually what they want. I thought it was much more palatable the way that he said it than other candidates. So just as a general statement, that was one of his best policy statements of the night. When it comes to foreign policy, I think that Vivek Ramaswamy is far more in line with the general conservative thinker than kind of the establishment Republicans like Nikki Haley and Chris Christie. I have to play for you guys the best, most illuminating part of the night. And I know I kind of said it was the best part before. This is the most illuminating part of our American politics than any other clip I've seen in any debate that's happened this year. And it happened when Vivek Ramaswamy called out Nikki Haley for not being able to name a single province, or excuse me, 3 provinces in Ukraine. Because we know that Nikki Haley is super pro-Ukraine, as a lot of establishment Republicans are. And Vivek Ramaswamy is not. He wants to kind of separate them and doesn't understand why we're giving hundreds of billions of dollars to them. I don't understand. I'm on Vivek Ramaswamy's side, to be clear. But this clip is one of the most illuminating clips I have ever seen. Let's roll it.
Have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are, but she wants to send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. So reject this myth that they've been selling you, that somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then makes $8 million after, has real foreign policy experience. It takes an outsider to see this through. Look at the blank expression. She doesn't know the names of the provinces that she wants to actually fight for.
So like him or hate him, if you disagree with his policy on Ukraine, that's fine. It doesn't matter. You must understand that this is a huge problem in our political class in America. And this was the perfect opportunity. I love that he did this. And man, you can see DeSantis like off to the side. I don't know if his face was, I'm glad he didn't ask me this question, or if his face was like, I'm really happy that Vivek Ramaswamy is kind of destroying Haley for me right now. But you have these establishment Republicans who talk about these issues like Ukraine. And Ukraine is an important one for Nikki Haley. Like, she brings it up a lot, and she has a very hard position on it. And she can't even name 3 provinces that she is trying to keep from the hands of Russia. That's really telling. And that's why a lot of people are turning towards people like Vivek Ramaswamy, who are really smart guys. They may not be career politicians, but you could look at Vivek Ramaswamy and ask his opinion on Ukraine. He'll give you a super detailed answer. And then you could ask him question upon question upon question about that subject, and he'll be able to answer all of them. Nikki Haley cannot do that. And I know that because she cannot name 3 provinces in Ukraine. That's super telling. Nobody in our country should be giving $100 billion to another country if they don't know every little detail about that country. Like, you see memes about this online all the time. Somehow the IRS can know exactly how much that you owe them, but Congress doesn't know a single thing about Ukraine. That's super telling about how the government uses its money, and that really, just right there, Ramaswamy really just kind of invalidated Nikki Haley's whole position on Ukraine. Really quick, guys, I do want to talk about, I'm using it as my like mouse little mover, but I do want to talk about my new book, A New Cult. A New Cult is a book that I just wrote. It came out just a couple weeks ago about the takeover of the West by the progressives. I talk about how they are literally a religious cult, the way that they've weaponized businesses, media, and the university to take over. It's a pretty short read, but I really enjoyed writing it. If you go to Amazon.com right now, you can order it, just $14.99. Again, I would love the support. I think you'll really enjoy it as well. I enjoyed writing it for sure.